Hey, what is up YouTube? It is Matty, and yes, firstly, gonna get it out there, this is my noob account, so don't be thinking, who's this guy and what is this rubbish account doing? Yes, it's my noob account. And yes, today I am kickstarting a brand new series, so really excited to be able to bring this to you. I've been holding off and waiting to do it for a long time, and it is a base. I'm giving you a base. It's a base review. I'm gonna sort of pick apart the base and discuss everything sort of about it, why it was set up in a way. And yeah, so I'm currently sat in Emphatic Fury, which is it was a clan set up to war against another clan, as in Emphatic Elite. And if you look at the war log, that was the the only war there. So a lot of new bases were created for this, and I just wanted to. I'm going to take this opportunity to sort of while I'm doing that, I'll switch it back to English. I want to take this opportunity while a load of fresh new bases become fresh ideas to pinpoint and go through why I think this is a good war base, at least anyway. Oh, looks like someone's active in a chat, but it doesn't matter, we're going to power through. And it's Brian Van, his base, and it's, yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones that had me pondered. I mean, it was 3-starred, and it's actually something unconventional. But yeah, this is the base. So on first glance it looks odd, and I agree to that. It does look really odd. It's meant to. It's supposed to throw you off, and it's supposed to be have fairly difficult qualities to it to make it annoying and to make it difficult to use the mainstream strategies to take it down. And when I say mainstream strategies, by the way, guys, I'm not talking go wee, we go wipe. I'm talking Laloon, Shattered Laloon, Cold-Blooded Laloon, and Hogs. So anything from Go-Ho to Holo to Surgical Hogs, you know, all those sort of typical war clan strategies. So that's what this base is tailored for. A lot of you might look at this and think, well, the Town Hall's easy, it's an easy 2-star, and yes, it is an easy 2-star, but this base and this series is about true war players, true war bases, and it's designed as an anti-3-star. So that Town Hall is there as purely to soak up damage, to be a high HP building used to a certain effect, rather than to prevent them from taking it down and getting a star, because anyone can 2-star a Town Hall 9. It's the easiest thing to do. You can even do it as a Town Hall 8, but yeah, anyway, so what I wanted to do is take the opportunity to go in a little bit deeper into traps, into base layout, design, what makes it more difficult. And I haven't got a set routine for this either. This is the first time I'm properly doing it, and I suppose I've been holding off doing this sort of thing for so long because I just needed to gather up that confidence and to, you know, I see a lot of YouTubers posting all the best anti-3-star base, the best farming base, the best this, that and the other, and a lot of the things I see, I highly doubt they even know what they're talking about. So this is going to be true, it's going to be proper, and it's going to have some sort of in-depthness to it. So Brian's initial thinking behind this was base. He wanted to make it tricky to shatter, to Laloon, and he wanted to make it tricky to hog. Now, first thing you're going to sort of probably be drawn to is the king and queen location. Now you'll notice that they're very close to an edge, and it is actually sort of tempting to shatter Laloon this, because you could drop sort of a golem on the mortar, and you could drop a golem up by the barracks, the builder huts there, wizard in, and then sort of try and put a guided route towards the taking down the 2 air defences and the queen, which is normally the main thing you're trying to take down in a shattered Laloon, and then commence the Laloon part. But it's almost like a false sense of security, because when you actually try and Laloon this base, the idea is that you'll notice that the air defence coverage and what is okay. I'll explain how he said it. When you try and Laloon it, the hounds will get stuck on the outside, because that's where the air defences are, and the loons will go inside, and therefore the loons will be unprotected. So you'll see that all 4 sort of wizard towers are out of range of the air defences. So when the hounds sat on the air defence, the wizard tower is not going to be touching it. Therefore, when the loons start going in, they're just going to get absolutely hammered by the expos, the wizard towers, Teslas. Teslas and wizard towers combined are a big loon killer. Combine that with some arch towers as well, and the theory is that the hounds move around the outside, the loons go inside and just end up dead. That's the idea. That's why he's placed some seeking air mines in here. That's why all the air traps are in here as well, or air bombs are in here as well, to just try and hammer out anyone that's trying to get the loons inside and sort of stop them in their tracks, so that the loons just end up dying, and then the hounds are just left to pop on the outside and die, basically. So that is, I think, one of the core things about this base that made it interesting for me, and why I wanted to kick-start the series with it. So when you build a base, I mean, you don't need to have the whole base mapped out in your mind. Just start with the concept is what I do. So his concept was, well, I'm going to try and put all the air defences around the outside and make the inside of it absolutely wreck loons. So he probably thought, well, I'll need a wizard tower and an expo in the core and a Tesla and some traps, and he probably just sort of drew a random core, and then you just start branching out and building compartments. And building a base isn't as hard as you think. What I would recommend is you obviously want to create quite a few compartments. Just try and randomize it a little bit. Try and make spaces as well for lots of potential double giant bomb spots. So you want to think of it that you're making the compartments big so you can fit a double giant bomb in, which is essentially the space of pretty much any defense plus a gap. So you can see here that wizard tower there, you'd be able to fit double giant bomb in because it's got a gap sort of down the bottom side of it. Same with the arch tower here, there's a gap at the back, which means you'll be able to fit a double giant bomb, which means there's a lot more potential spaces. So what you've got to consider is that the most people who are 3-starring, if they're using go low, that's one thing. Now go low, is you sort of go wee the main part, and then you back end loons it. But back end loons won't work on this base because there's back end air defenses, so that's not a strategy anyway. Or go weaver, where you got all sort of air defenses in a core, but again, because the air defenses are spread out, that strategy sort of eliminated. I'll show you the attack that 3-starred this base actually towards the end, because it was quite interesting, different, not expected. But yeah, the main focus, and what I think your guys' main focus should always be when you're base building, is keep it anti-laloon and keep it anti-hog. Now, yeah, I mean, if you look around the outside, there's a lot of sort of storages on the outer ring, and what that is doing is trying to hold up the kill squad from whatever angle they come in. He's got HP just buffering the outside, and the inside is full of traps and wizard towers for splash damage, just to try and stop whatever gets in there, because hogs and loons, the biggest killers for them, or the biggest threat to them, is splash damage, because it just wrecks a pack of them. And you'll see, okay, so let's take it up a notch now. Why is this base? What has he done to start making anti-hog measures for this base? So, firstly, lots of potential double giant bomb threats. So you got one. Let's actually count them. There's not one going to be there. Can't fit one there. So the outer ring, there's really not much space for any double giant bomb threats there at all. So it's all going to be inner ring. So you got one space next to the wizard tower there. Either side of that wizard tower could be a double giant bomb actually. Obviously the spot where the single giant bomb is, you could have a double there, so that's 3. Core, you've got at least 2 spots where you could have a double there, so that's 3, 4, 5. I think he told me there was 7 spaces where there could be double giant bombs on this base. I can't see them all off the top of my head, but there's enough to make it sort of you keep the attacker guessing where they're going to come from. So have they put the town hall there because it's protecting where a double giant bomb is? So that would, for me, would be a likely spot. And you can check the pathing as well. So when the troops, let's say they come in this way through these defences up to the cannon, when they hit that cannon, the next building that they have to hit is that wizard tower, so the pathing works. That's the other thing, make sure the pathing works on the when you're doing it as well. So when they hit that wizard tower, that's a bit iffy actually, because they might go inwards to the expo, but they might split the cannon, so there is still a potential double giant bomb there, and same potentially vice versa, but where this giant bomb is as well, because the gold storage is where it is, and there's a gap and then a clan castle. If they come in from the air defense angle, they're going to hit the Tesla, then the Expo, and then the next building that's likely for them to go to is the Wizard Tower. So you've got to make sure that when you're placing your double giant bombs, that the hogs are actually going to path that way, and they're not going to come it from some obscure angle. And similarly, look, when if you dropped hogs onto that arch tower, they'd go to the Tesla, then to the Wizard Tower, and then highly likely that some would go across to the Expo, but it might be that some deer off, so that wouldn't probably be the best double giant bomb spot. But a lot of people got into the trend of putting 2 double giant bomb threats to try and maximise the potential of someone hitting it. But the strategy at the moment with surgical hogs seems to be forcing people to use a jump spell and a lightning spell for the clan castle, and if you can do that, that means they've only got 2 heals, and if you can then therefore spread the giant bombs. So what he's done is put these 2 singles in places where the hogs are likely to clump up together, and then almost like places you wouldn't expect, forcing the attacker to drop a heal spell earlier, and then therefore it's gone, and the rest of the defences should stay alive. Now, it'd be actually interesting to see if there was an attack done on this base, because I'm not 100% sure. Moving on, so I think traps is everything. The unknown is key. So what he's also done to sort of make this base anti-surgical hog is staggered defences as well. So he sort of made sure that every building isn't sort of immediately targetable. What I mean by that, you'll see, is that arch tower you can't really target it because you'd have to go to that mortar first. Let's see what else. Arch tower over here, you can't target that. You'd have to go from air defense or from cannon to that building to take it down. Cannon obviously behind defenses anyway, so it's trying to just make sure that not every building, every point defense is immediately accessible. But the big one is spring traps. Spring trap placement is more than meets the eye. It involves pathing as well, because you have to be sure that wherever these people are going to land on these, the hogs are going to land on these spring traps, it's going to be when they're en route into the base. You don't want to just put them on the outside where hogs you guess they're going to go. You want it to be where hogs are definitely going to go, and hogs like to go in empty spaces, so use that knowledge to your advantage and try and just guess where the hogs, so when they're jumping into the core from this angle, accidentally backed out there. What have I done? I'll hit next. Yeah, here we go. So it's like on the route they have to go. So that's what you're going to want to do with the spring traps as well. So nice spring trap placement on this base. Teslas. Now this is interesting because he's made it so that the Teslas, let's say you drop a giant on that mortar there to distract, or you drop a giant up by the elixir collector here, because what in surgical hogging, you drop a giant to distract the defences, then you drop the hogs onto the defences straight away. He's sort of made the Tesla so it's far enough back so it can't be aggro, it can't hit the giants, is the idea, so that when the hogs come in, the Tesla's immediately on them. That's the idea behind it. And he's tried to do that across the base. So you'll see again the Tesla range. It's out of the giant range, but it's able to start hitting the hogs as soon as they start attacking any of those defences. Tesla here as well, same sort of scenario, and Tesla here. Final same scenario again. You can see it's just not going to hit that giant. It's going to. I like that little seeking air mine as well. Cheeky. Okay, the other thing to think about is bombs, little bombs. They're best used. They're not very good. People just whack them in a lot of times. I do it in a clump of 6 inside the base just to cause a bit of extra damage. But their best use is actually to try and prevent wall breakers. Because wall breakers, you've got to think, where are the natural attack points that you want to try and get into the base on this? Where are people going to be likely to drop a golem and try and break in? So what he's done is put the bombs in those positions where they might just try and break in there. That's it. That's the idea behind them. I think you have to put them slightly away from the wall. He hasn't there, but I think that because they're going to come in from the angle, they'll be okay. But yeah, placing the little bombs just so that they can take down the wall breakers is again good strategy. Okay, so if I was going to surge, the other thing you're going to consider is that if people 99% of the time you've got to kill the queen. The queen going down is essential to pretty much every raid, from laloon to hogs, because if it's a high level queen and she's not dead, she'll wreck your lot. She'll wreck it. The raid will be 99% of the time the raid will fail if the queen survives. I've seen rare cases where it isn't, but most of the time. So he's made sure that spring traps aren't going to be wasted with the kill squad, because the natural kill squad angle for this is to go in sort of through that cannon, just to go straight into that compartment. I mean, you can jump straight in if you wanted to. I wouldn't waste a jump doing that. Well, I might do, but also he's made that compartment where the queen is really big and obscure, so they can't just sort of jump directly into the core. Made it really awkward. You'd have to go in at a funny angle to do it. So that's another thing. Big strange compartments, then smaller compartments elsewhere, but make the compartments that count worthwhile. So this one, you can't get into the core. And if you wanted to get to that double giant, if you wanted to take down the double giant bomb and the queen, you're in for a tough ride, because you've got to go through all of these defenses down here, all of the core, and out the other side. And you'd have to go out the core as well, through that wall, because the queen wouldn't aggro that far. Well, she would, but she'd be shooting from the other side of the wall. So yeah, it's risky, and there's a lot of point defense, a lot of Teslas, and basically the base is bulkier on that side, and it's built for that. So if someone tries to come in the back, you're going to need at least 3 golems, and then you've just got not many hogs to finish the base. So it's designed to be that way, and to try and force the attack to come in from this side, from 2 o'clock, and when they do, that then just not going to achieve much by doing it. The queen will be down, yes, maybe you might grab one air defense, maybe you might even grab the other air defense, and if you're trying to shatter laloon, it's just the design of the base which is what's designed to anti-laloon, and not the fact you can't get 2 air defenses. On the next episode, I'm going to show you a base where it's completely the opposite end of the story, where it's almost impossible to get the queen and any air defense. It's a very different story, but this is the idea. This isn't meant to be, oh my god, everyone must use this base. I'm trying to do this series to show you little tips and tricks on how to build your own base, because there is no better feeling, and I did it last war and I did it the war before, on the scrims, where you build your own base and it defends, and people attack where you thought they were going to, and you put your traps in the right places, or someone was caught out by your double giant bomb, anything like that. It's such a good feeling, and if you can learn to just throw a base together and then slowly build it. I mean, I normally start with air defense. Air defense is everything really, and then double giant bomb threats. Those are the first things you're going to consider when you're doing it. Now, another sort of general pointer, and something this base features, it's a difficult... Go away. Why? Stop it. I would say it's a difficult to lure CC, but it's not really, because if you wanted to pull that CC, you'd drop probably four or five hogs on that, 4 hogs on that air defense, and then they'd go to the arch tower next, and then the arch tower is definitely within range, so you would get the CC pull. But what you want to make, if it's relatively difficult, like it's not going to take a couple of giants or whatever to pull, you want to make it a bit more difficult. So what you do is you add in, you make quite a few archers in there. So you can see there's 7 archers, 2 minions, 3 loons, and a wizard there. So he's made it so it's quite heavy to pull. So those hogs might die before they've got the full CC pull, and you might want to go even further than that and drop. You could have dropped a loon and put 12 archers in, which made it very difficult. So that or again even higher. But if your CC is difficult to lure, sorry, I've got that wrong. If your CC is easy to lure, you want to make it so that there's more archers, so it costs more. So in this scenario, it's not impossible to lure. You could drop 4 or 5 hogs on there. So you want to make it a bit harder. If there was no chance of luring it, you want to maybe put loads of loons in there, so that that people are more likely to just power through with a double golem and just try and lightning the CC on the move. So that way you might want to drop more loons in there to absolutely destroy the golems when they come in. So it's just things like this you need to consider. The type of base you've got, how easy to pull is the CC. If it's very easy to pull, then make it trickier and longer to pull with loads of archers. If it's easy to pull, if it's impossible to pull, you might as well load it with good heavy stuff that are going to try and do some damage and not get destroyed by lightning, if you see what I mean. That's an extra little pointer. So yeah, this is the base that was designed by Brian. People need to understand how important traps are, and how important the illusion of traps are, and how important it is to make a base that forces someone's hand. If the queen was right in the core here, right next to that clan castle, once you learn where the giant bombs are, you can just get into her that way. So you could just attack through this complete right hand side, get to the queen and take her down. So you've got what Brian's strategy is to try and force a hand, make him take the queen, probably try and convince them to laloon, because it looks like a nice laloonable base, or convince them to surgical hog it. But then the base is secretly set up, so they've got a lot of surprises, good spring trap, good giant bomb placement. This and the traps, because that makes the biggest difference in the raid. So I hope I've explained it well. I mean, I'm not here to say why he put every structure where he did, but you'll notice that there's a ring of defences all the way around the base, and there's the reason is he's almost tempting you in to say that's a surgical, that's a laloon base, easy, you can nail it. But the reality of it is that the core is designed to wreck both of those strategies. So yeah, it's I hope you've enjoyed looking at this base. I hope you consider maybe using it. I mean, this series is going to go on for a long time now, and I'm going to put a lot of bases up, and they're going to evolve as strategies evolve. So I hope that I've kick-started it well and put an interesting base forwards for you as the number one, and look forward to number two, because it's going to be Savoni, who is Vanaris, who's one of our best attackers, and been if you watch my videos, you know who Van is, and it's a very interesting one, trust me. And what I will show actually is if anyone's attempted this base. Let's have a look to see how it worked, because I know that Che has 3'd it. First thing I could check is on my team, on Brian, 1 attack was done on it. It was 3-starred first time. I've shown a base it was 3-starred first time, but what I will tell you is look at the attack, because this was something special from Che's. So he decided, yeah, I'm not going to laloon that. I'm not going to even hog it. I'm just going to go for an absolute go wee wee mega attack. So watch and enjoy how this base does get 3-starred, because I feel a bit bad showing the attack now, but it's going to happen anyway. I've literally shown you a base and then showed you how to destroy it in one breath. But what he's... Oh God, I can barely explain this. What he's realised is that this base is too difficult to take on the conventional method, so he's had to go back to basics. He's got back end hogs to help him out as well, and in fact he's got back end shatter. Back end surgical, because he's the way he's put the giant in as well to tank, which is great. You'll see it's a heavy CC, 3 loons in there, but I don't think any of them. 1 bomb dropped on the king's head, did do quite a bit of damage to him. I think we're going to see the hogs coming in soon. Giant in, look to distract the defences, waiting for the cannon to be distracted, and then dropping the hogs on those key defences there, just letting the sort of the witches, everything, the golems coming in, but they're distracted long enough for the hogs to be able to go in and do some serious damage on those bottom right defences. And this wasn't an easy attack. I think Che's just was very clever, and this is why we do this, why we do scrims, because it's where the best attacks come out. When people are put into an awkward position by a very tricky base, that it forces it can force the best attacks. So he scrimped it. The hogs just about survived up to that Tesla. Queen's coming in now to help use her ability, take those defences down. Only the Arch Tower left as the final threat. You can see Witches are coming round, Golems coming round. There's enough firepower here to finish off the base. So I'm like some form of sadist. Like I on one hand I giveth, as in I give you a base, I show you and talk through it, and on the other hand I show you how to wreck it. But bear in mind, this isn't me trying to give you a base and just say you go away and use it. I'm trying to give you ideas is the thing. I'm trying to show you thought that goes into a base, and to also say just try it. Try building your own base. Maybe take some features you've seen on other bases, throw something together. Just start with the wall layout, have a basic concept, have some thoughts together on potentially how it's going to be for you, and then just start thinking, right, I need to make some double giant bomb spots. I need to make it, don't worry about the spring traps till the end. I need to make consider air defense places, consider it for being lalooned, and consider it for being hogged. And once you start down that path, you'll make tweaks along the way. Post it. I usually post sort of halfway through base designs or concepts to the clan, hear their thoughts, and then take it from there. And if it's good reports, I'll carry on. If it's bad, or they say that double giant bomb spot won't work, I'll then think, okay, good point or bad point, and either take it on board or not. But that's what we're here to do, and I hope you appreciate this video and the new series. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to upload every day, and I put a lot of work into and thought into what I do. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.